Israel and Hezbollah seem to be closer than ever to a full-blown war, with escalating attacks on both sides against civilian and military targets. Israel has warned the Lebanese government that the whole country, not just Hezbollah in the south, would suffer heavy damage in an Israeli bombardment. Hezbollah leader Hassan Nasrallah says any deal to end the fighting with Israel is tied to a ceasefire between Israel and Hamas in Gaza.
Tensions between Israel and Lebanon's Iran-backed militant group Hezbollah seem to have reached a boiling point, with both sides now warning of an expanded war in the Middle East. Hezbollah is an ally of Hamas and has been exchanging strikes with Israel almost daily since the war in Gaza erupted on October 7th. Since then, Israeli strikes have killed more than 400 people in Lebanon, most of them Hezbollah and other militants, but also over 80 civilians and non-combatants. In northern Israel, 16 soldiers and 11 civilians have been killed by strikes launched from Lebanon. More than 150,000 people have also been displaced from their homes. Hezbollah ramped up attacks after Israel expanded its offensive into Rafah in May and again in June after an Israeli strike killed high-ranking Hezbollah commander Taleb Abdullah. Last week, after Abdullah was killed, the group launched its largest attack since the war began, firing more than 200 projectiles into Israel. No casualties were reported. Then tensions escalated. This Tuesday, when a 10-minute long video allegedly filmed by Hezbollah surveillance drone was released. It shows strategic military and civilian sites in Israel, including parts of Haifa, which is a city far from the Israel-Lebanon border. It was seen as a veiled threat to Israel, not to escalate the conflict, because a strike on Haifa would likely trigger an all-out war. In a speech on Wednesday, Hezbollah's leader Hassan Nasrallah said the group has much more footage and warned that there will be no safe place from our missiles and our drones if an all-out war breaks out. If the war is imposed, the resistance will fight without constraints, rules, or limits. He said that only a permanent ceasefire in Gaza would bring about peace. On Tuesday, the Israeli army said it has approved and validated plans for an offensive in Lebanon, although the decision to actually launch such an operation would have to come from the country's political leadership. Israel's military capabilities far outweigh Hezbollah's, but the group's arsenal has grown significantly in recent years. The United States and Israel estimate the group, along with other Lebanese militant factions, has about 150,000 missiles and rockets. Hezbollah has been working on precision-guided missiles. So we're looking at a wider war in the Middle East potentially, but Cenk, do you think diplomacy can affect the outcome here, or is this inevitable?
Look, I don't want to say anything's inevitable, and I don't know enough about internal Israeli political dynamic to be able to say that it's definitely going to happen, and we're going to have this giant war between Israel and Lebanon, and it's going to spread to Iran. I can't say that definitively. Having said that, this is definitely headed in the wrong direction. There's no question about that.
Thanks for watching. Our audience has helped build TYT into the media giant it is today. Together, we can accomplish anything. Support our work and join us at tyt.com/team.
Is it true that both sides are firing missiles at one another? Yes. Has Hezbollah fired hundreds of missiles into Israel? Yes. Has it hit a lot of people? No, because Israel has Iron Dome and great defense system. Does that make it less morally culpable? No, it doesn't, okay? It's still wrong to do that, no question. Now, has Israel killed even more people on the other side with better bombs and bombs that have no protection against them? Yeah, of course, and you just saw the numbers. Israel's killed 480, Hezbollah has killed 27. So now, again, Hezbollah doesn't get a pass. They're trying to kill more, they just can't, right? Now, having said that, Israel also doesn't get a pass. So, but their civilian to fighter ratio here is way better than it is in Gaza. So that's silver lining in an otherwise super dark cloud. But at least they kill a lot less civilians here, as compared to Hezbollah fighters, as a Hamas to Palestinian ratio in Gaza, which is absolutely disastrous. Okay, so the question is, what's better for the world, for Lebanon, and for Israel, right? So those are the questions. For Lebanon, it's easy. This is going to be an epic disaster if this war starts. Lebanon's going to be destroyed. and it's probably the humanitarian toll is going to be catastrophic. For the world, also easy. A terrible development. Not only does it make it a broader war in the Middle East, already a disaster for everyone except bank speculators, oil companies, and defense contractors, and of course AIPAC. So, but outside of them, everyone gets hurt, let alone if it jumps over to Iran, we're infinitely screwed. The Middle East is screwed, America's screwed. Guaranteed we have to send soldiers, guaranteed we have to send billions, maybe trillions of dollars. Remember, we spent a couple of trillion in Iraq. Iran is 4 times larger. And there's no way that a war starts and American politicians go, no, we won't take Israel's side, we'll be neutral. No, we will be forced to go on Israel's side and spend all of our blood and money and treasure for a war that doesn't need to happen at all, that Netanyahu is definitely trying to start. So now, again, if you live in Washington, you're likely a lunatic, and so you'll say things like, it's all Hezbollah's fault. They're dirty terrorists and they deserve to be killed, and all their leaders should be killed, and all their leaders and all their fighters should be killed. But Israel should never be touched under any circumstances. Okay, if you want a war, you say unreasonable, lunatic things like that, right? The reality is, Israel is killing Hezbollah's leaders, and then when Hezbollah fires back, they're like, oh my God, I did not expect that. Wink, now I have to bomb them even more. You see all the rockets they fired at me. Boom, I killed another leader. Now they fired even more rockets. Oh my God, it looks like I have to expand the war to stay in power, says Netanyahu. So does this help, get to the final question, the only question that anyone in power cares about, does this help Israel? And you have to scream it from the rooftops, no, it doesn't help Israel. If the whole point is a haven for Jews across the world so they could finally be safe and secure, why would you want to start a war with all of your neighbors? Like, I get it. You think in 1948, when you declared that half their land was yours, that you think they started the war. I get it. And Egypt, and then in 67 and 73, the Arab nations did start the wars, okay? But now you think that you, Israel, led by Netanyahu and this lunatic right-wing government, starting wars all across the region with all of your neighbors is a good idea? Because I know, look, the propaganda is so thick that if you're talking to an Israeli supporter, they think we are the most innocent people on earth. On earth. The only thing that we do is respond. I mean, these guys, they all hate us. They all hate us just because of who we are. No, not because we've ever done anything wrong. No, we've never done anything wrong. It's just everybody hates the Jews. They're all anti-Semites. We have to kill all the anti-Semites. How long is that gonna take? How many countries do you have to bomb? How many wars do you have to start? Because if you say, I bombed you and now I can't believe you hate Jews or Israel, so I'm gonna have to bomb you more, that logic is going to start a ton of wars, and it's in the middle of doing it now. This war starts, and it is an epic disaster for Israel. It's the only thing that actually endangers Israel. What if Hezbollah is right? Well, I mean, I think they're full of crap, but what if they actually do have drones and missiles that could reach Haifa or Tel Aviv? What if they do have 100,000 soldiers and now maybe even more? And what if, like Hamas, they find a way to breach the borders of Israel? And now you got fighters inside Israel? Oh, we're never gonna get out of that war, and Israel's gonna be devastated, Lebanon's gonna be devastated, and America is going to be 100% screwed. But the only people that can stop it are people who are pro-Israel. Because if you criticize Israel in America, you have no power, zero. No one will listen to you at all, at all. So, and it doesn't matter where you go. Joe Biden, Donald Trump, RFK Jr., all of them say, I will never question Israel. I will do whatever I am ordered to do, and I will make sure that America will do anything that lunatic right-wing leader of Israel commands us to do. And if that hurts your feelings, I'm tired of your feelings. That's a stone cold fact, and we're all seeing it with our own eyes. They're spending $14 million against Jamal Bowman. They spent $4 million against Nina Turner, our panelist here, in AIPAC and AIPAC-related funds. And then they pretend, oh no, you can't say it. I can spend the 14 million and say, I demand loyalty to Israel, which is a foreign nation. They can say that, and they can demand that. But if you say, can you please not demand it? Anti-Semite, no, I'm done with that. I don't care. You're gonna get us into a giant war, and guess what it's gonna do? It's gonna drive up anti-Semitism across the world to catastrophic levels. Catastrophic. And that's the only way you can lose America. Because after we spend a couple of $1 trillion and lose God knows how many thousands of American soldiers, do you think that the American population is still gonna be pro-Israel? I don't think so. I think they're going to be very, very anti-Israel. What are you doing? Why are you playing with this fire? All for the career of Benjamin Netanyahu? You'd have to be nuts to support that madman. Nina.
Yeah, lunacy, Cenk. I mean, look, I'm amen, and I could have listened to you go on and on about this. No good will come out of this. And this is what we need our viewers to understand. No good can come from expanding a war in the Middle East. Zero, nada, nothing, never. It just will not. And it will ultimately, Reverend Dr. King once said, what affects one directly affects us all indirectly. People who are directly wounded literally by this, but then there are going to be the pains that are felt across the globe because of this. Nobody, and I mean nobody, will be unscathed. Another thing in science, for every action, there's an equal and opposite reaction. It doesn't make those reactions right, especially when it comes to killing innocent civilian or any innocent person at all. But Cenk, your point is well taken in that you do these things to people and then you expect them not to do anything back. That just does not make sense. So for people who care about Israel, people who care about Israelis, people who care about the American Jewish population in this country, them expanding the Middle East war will not go well for any of us, non-Jews included. It will be bad all the way around, and it will be bad generationally. We cannot war our way to peace. And I don't understand what people can't understand, and just the cavalier attitude of leadership. Even the Hezbollah leader, y'all do that, we coming for you. Well, Israel will come for us. As if there's not flesh and blood people, even people who've signed up for the various militaries. People's physical lives are on the line, and you got leaders who are comporting themselves worse than toddlers when it comes to, we just gonna start bombing you, really? And if this expands, God forbids, to a WW3, it's over for all of us. So now all of this is pretty personal now. And you're right, Cenk, the American people are already saying enough is enough. If in fact the United States is pulled into a protracted war in the Middle East, it is going to get even worse, and it will be justifiable in how the American people are feeling. How is it we got all this money for war making, but we have no money to deal with the domestic needs of the American people right here, right now?
Thanks for watching The Young Turks, really appreciate it. Another way to show support is through YouTube memberships. You'll get to interact with us more. There's live chat emojis, badges. You've got emojis of me, Anna, John, JR. So those are super fun. But you also get playback of our exclusive member-only shows and specials right after they air. So all of that, all you gotta do is click that join button right underneath the video. Thank you.